Daf Lamates Summit Base, the first line at the top. We learned in the Mishnah, we had three cases where Rabbi Yehuda says that he considers Rosh Hashanah, the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah, to be like 2 days of Yom Tov, 2 days of Yom Tov Shel Golius, that we consider it to be two separate Kedushas. The Chum argue, but Rabbi Yehuda holds that they're considered two separate Kedushas. Therefore, he says you can make two separate Eruvim. You can make Eruvim for the first day, one Erev, and the second day a different Erev. He holds also, he brings down another case, and he says also that you can take Meiser from a kalkola, from a basket, and you take Meiser because you can say treat one day it's a Sofek, one day is Chol, and one day is Kodesh. And therefore, you can take the Meiser, you can take the Meiser on the Truma and the Meiser from the basket. On the first day, you say if today is a Yom that is Chol, then it should be Chol. And if not, then what I'm saying has no meaning. And on the second day, you're mafresh and say, if what I was mafresh yesterday is really Truma and Meiser, then what I'm saying today is meaningless. But if it wasn't, then and today is a Yom Chol, then today I'm making the Hafrasha. He brings down a third case, and he says, on a third case, he says also that a Be'esh and Olda Bazeh, Muteras Bazeh, that if an egg is laid on the first day, it's mutter on the second day, it becomes Marashach. One day is Kodesh, one day is Chol. If the first day is Chol, so it was an egg that was laid from before Yom Tov, and it's mutter on Yom Tov. If the first day was Kodesh, and today is Chol, well, today, then therefore, it's not Yom Tov. So even though if it was laid on Yom Tov yesterday, but today is a Yom Chol, so there's no muksa. So Zok the Gemara, Vadamar Yehuda, Tzricha. We need all of these three cases. Diashmina Rosh Hashanah. If it told me on the case of Rosh Hashanah, in the case of Erev, I would say Bahakam Rav Yehuda Mishum Deloy Kavin Midi, because he's not doing anything on Yom Tov. He makes the preparations before Yom Tov. Aval kalkola the Mexican Masakin Tivla, but on the case of the basket where he's being mafish, the Truman Meisers, it looks like he's making Masakin, he's been Masakin something. Ima Moidal Rabbanan, I would think he's Moidal to the Rabbanan, that it should be also, so that's why he has to teach me in that case. Vishmin and Hani Tarti, if he only told me those two cases, I might have said, Mishum Delekla Migzerla, because there's no grounds to be geyser onto a different case. Aval Beya, but the case of the Beya Dikala Migzula, because I might have said by the case of the Beya that it's similar to the case of fruit that falls off a tree. Now the Rabban were geyser that a fruit falls off from a tree, that it's also because you might come to pick the fruit from the tree. Well, here also that's similar to that case because the egg is laid, it's coming from the hen. So it's similar to that case. I might think that we'd be geyser. Well, mishum peros anoishim on the case of, for a case of fruit that falls from the tree, mishum mashkim sezovu, or in a case that juice that flows from a fruit, there are also geyser that if juice flows from a fruit on Yom Tov it's also because you might come to squeeze it. I would have thought that he would be minded to the Rabbanan in this case. That's why it has to tell me all three cases that Rav Yehuda says it's mutter. Tanya, Ketzir, Amar Rav Yehuda, Maslan Malka Kolabion Tav Rishon. How would he say that you're Maslan Malka Kolabion Tav Rishon V'Chol? What's the procedure that Rav Yehuda says that you can make a condition on Yom Tov Rishon and you can eat the fruit on Yom Tov Sheni? We consider it like two Kedushas. So therefore he says one day is Yom Chol and one day is Kodesh. So practically, how is it that he says that you can make this condition and that you can eat it on the second day? So for instance, if he had two baskets of tevel, so they're also bechila, there was no afresh of trumas and meises. He says, Im hayom chol ulamachar kodesh on the first day, so we treat it as a sofek. We say if today on the first day. He says, if today is not Yom Tov, it's Chol, and tomorrow's Kodesh, then I'm able to make Hafrasha today. You can't make Hafrasha of Trumas and Meises on Yom Tov, but if today is really Chol, then I could make the Hafrasha, I could be Masak in this. And therefore, take two truma alzu. So what the produce in the one basket should be the truma and the meiser, etc., for the other basket. So this should be the hafrosha, and this should be the trumas and meisers, and the other basket therefore should be chulin. But if today is really yontiv and tomorrow is chol, and with klum, what I'm saying is meaningless. You can't make a hafrosha. It's also to make a hafrosha of trumas meises on yontiv. So if today really is kodesh, it's yontiv, then what I'm saying is meaningless. V'korelav shem manicha, and he designates it and he leaves it to the next day. Now he can't eat it because it's only a conditional hafrosha. So he waits till the next day, and the next day, he says, Im hayem chol, if today is really chol, te zu trumal zu, then the truman meisers, meaning what was in the basket that he already designated as truman meiser conditionally the day before, he says again the next day, if today is really the day that's chol, so now I'm making it today, the hafrosha should be for the trumas and meises in this basket, and therefore this should be trumas and meises. But v'mayam kodesh, if today is kodesh and b'dvar klum, then what I'm saying today is meaningless. Then what I said yesterday should be the hafrosha. If today is kodesh, what I'm saying now is meaningless. What I made yesterday the hafrosha should be the real designation, and today it should be meaningless. He designates it, and then he can eat the produce from the other basket, because in any event, either yesterday or today, the hafrosha is hafrosha, and the trumas of meiser is achal, and then the produce in the other basket is now mesukin, and it's chulin. But Rav Yesi says it's also, he treats the 2 days as kedusha achas, not as a suffix, and therefore you can't make a conditional hafrosha because they don't treat it as a suffix. And similarly, he said for a 2-day yontav yom time shel golios, he treated it the same way. It's not a suffix, but kedusha achas. They brought a deer to the house of the Reish Galusa. The itzes b'yam zirtam rishon shel golios. It was caught, it was captured by Goyim on the first day of Yontiv, on Yontiv Rishon Shel Golias. V'ishtachet b'yam tov sheni, and they shachted it on the second day. Rav Nachman v'Rav Chisda ochlim, so they ate from the meat. They said that it was mutter because memonashach, either it was brought yesterday, was caught yesterday, if it was a yom chol, then it was caught on Yom Chol. There was no malacha done on Yontiv. And even if it was Yontiv, so there was a malacha done on Yontiv. Now we're not allowed to get hana from a malacha that was done on Yontiv, even was done by a goy if he did it for Yisro, for a Yid. But if today is Chol, so therefore it's now mutter today because it's after Yontiv. Rav Nachman Rav Chisda ochel, Rav Sheshes lo ochel, but Rav Sheshes did not eat it. So l'chayra, Rav Nachman Rav Chisda held that it was shtei kedushas. You treat it as a suffix. So therefore, memonashach, it would be mutter on the second day, because one of the days is chol and one of the days is yontiv. But apparently Rav Sheshes, he did not eat from it. He treated it as kedusha achas, not as a suffix, as one kedusha. Omer Rav Nachman, he said, "My avid leather Rosh Hashanah. What are we going to do with Rosh Hashanah? He doesn't want to eat from this good meat. I mean, there's no reason to answer it because Shnei Yom Tam Shel Golias is a suffix." Omer Le Rosh Hashanah says, "Ve'heich ha'achal. How should I eat it? The Tani Yisiv Amalei Yisi Tona V'chein Harav Yisi Yisir Shnei Yom Tam Shel Golias." As we just learned in the Brisa, the Rav Yisi says that even by Shnei Yom Tov Shel Golias, it's also, we don't treat it as a suffix, we treat it as a kedusha achas. Therefore, how can he eat? Amar Rava, my kusha. Why is that a kasha to Rav Nachman Rav Chisda? Dilma Hochi Kamer. Maybe what the Bryce really means is V'chein Haya Rav Yesi Oiser V'shnei Yom Tovim Shel Rosh Hashanah B'Goyla. Maybe what Rav Yesi said that it's also, it's very difficult to say that he's referring to really to Shnei Yom Tov Shel Golios, because there certainly the institution of it, the takon of it, was made al suffix. Maybe what he means to say is that no, he's dealing with Shnei Yom Tov Shel Rosh Hashanah. What is he adding on to this? He's adding on to it that even in Golos, even Begoila, they also kept the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah as Kedusha Achos. Not only in Eretz Yisrael, where they had the issue of the Avodah in the base of Mikdash, but even in Goliath, there in the Goila, they also treated it as Kedusha Achos. If that's the case, Shal Goliath Begoila mi boile. Then he shouldn't have said that, Rav Yossi shouldn't have said, it shouldn't have said in Brisa rather, V'cheina Rav Yossi, Oise b'shnei yom tov shel Goliath, it should say Begoila. It should say that we're referring to the same 2 days of Yom Tov of Rosh Hashanah, Begoila. Omer Rav Asi, my kusha, d'machi kana. V'chein ha'yer Rav Yossi, Oise isur shnei yom tov shel Goliath. Maybe what it means is that Rav Yossi similarly made the Isra of the 2 Yom Tov Shel Goliath b'kishnei Yom Tov Shel Rosh Hashanah l'Rabbanan the Shor. Maybe what it means is that Rav Yossi similarly treated the 2-day Yom Tov on Goliath, the 2-day Yom Tov of Chutz La'aretz. He treated it like l'Rabbanan the Shoru, that according to the Rabbanan, that they were matir Rosh Hashanah. They treated Rosh Hashanah like 2 days, like 2 Kedusha is. Rav Yossi treats Rosh Hashanah like Kedusha Achos. But he says that Yom Shnei Yom Tovim Shel Goliath, he treats it like Shnei Yom Tovim Shel Goliath, according to the Rabbanan, who say it's mutter, that's 2 Kedushas. Ashkechei Rav Sheish l'Rabba Bar Shmuel. Omelei Tanimar Mida B'Kedushas. Did you teach anything regarding the 2 days of Yom Tov? Omelei Tanina, we learned, Might Rav Yosef Shnei Yom Tov Shel Goliath, that he's moida that the 2 Yom Tov of Goliath. So you see clearly that Rav Yosef Shita is not that the 2 days of Yom Tov the Goliath that it's also. He didn't mean that. He meant that Rosh Hashanah is Kedusha Achos, and Rosh Hashanah even Begoila is Kedusha Achos. But the 2 days of Yom Tov of Chutz La'aretz, that's everyone agrees that's considered like 2 Kedushas. Therefore, what was brought on the first day should be mutter on the second day. Amalei imishkachaslu, he said to him, if you meet up with Rav Nachman Rav Chissa, loy temelu v'loy miri. Don't tell them anything about it, because it would be an embarrassment to me that I made this mistake, that I refused to eat it, even though it's clearly mutter.